I'm here to discuss to you the module 11, which is switch security configuration. And let's get started. Introduction. Why should I take this module? Welcome to Switch Security Configuration. An important part of your responsibility as a network professional is to keep the network secure most of the time. We only think about security attacks coming from outside the network, but threats can come from within the network as well. How do we keep the network safe and stable? How do we protect it from malicious attacks from within the network? How do we make sure employees are not adding switches, servers, and other devices to the network that might compromise network operation? What will I learn in this module? Title: Implements for Secure. Topic objective: Implement for security to mitigate MAC address table attacks. Mitigate BLAN attacks. Explain how to configure DTP and native BLAN to mitigate BLAN attacks. Mitigate DHCP attacks. Explain how to configure DHCP snooping to mitigate DHCP attacks. Mitigate ARP attacks. Explain how to configure ARP inspection to mitigate ARP attacks. Mitigate STP attacks. Explain how to configure Fort, FAST, and BPDU guard to mitigate STP attacks. Implement port security. Secure unused ports. Layer 2. Devices are considered to be the weakest link in company security interface. All switch port should be secure before the switch is deployed for production. Use how a port is secure defense on its function. A simple method that may administrator use to help secure the network from unauthorized access is to disable all unused port on a switch. To configure a range of port, use interface range command. For example, to shut down ports for PO/8 to PA0/24 on S1, you will enter the following command. Interface range FA0/8-24. Shut down interface pass Ethernet 0/8. Change state to administrative down. Interface pass Ethernet 0/24. Change state to administratively down. Hashtag. Mitigate MAC address table attacks. The simplest and most effectively methods to prevent MAC address table overview attacks into enable for security. Enable port security. Notice in the example switch port security command was rejected. Interface FO0/1 switch sharp port security switch mode access switch for port security and enable secure shutdown remains absolutely disabled 1000000. Limit and learn MAC address. Manually configure. The administrator manually configure a static MAC addresses by using the following command for each source MAC address on the port. Switch config if switch port security MAC address. Dynamically learn. When the switch port security command is entered, the current source MAC for the device connected to the port is automatically secure but is not added to the startup configuration. If the switch is rebooted, the port will have to relearn the device's MAC address. Dynamic learn sticky. The administration can enable the switch to dynamically learn the MAC address and stick them to the running configuration by using the following command. Switch config if switch for port security MAC address sticky. Port security again. Absolutely. The secure addresses on the port are deleted after the specified again time. Inactivity. The secure addresses on the port are deleted only if they are inactive for the specified again time. Switch config if switch to port security again. Port security violence modes. To set the port security violence mode, use the following command. Security violation mode description. Shutdown. The port's transition to the error disabled states immediately turns off. The port LAN sends a syslog message. It encrypts the violations counter. When a security port is the error's disabled state. Restrict. The port drops packets with unknown source address until you remove a sufficient number of source MAC address. Protect. This is the least secure of the security violation models. Security violation mode configuration. Violation mode. Discard offending traffic. Sends syslog codes message. Increase violation counter. Shut down port. Ports in error disabled state. S1 shown interface fit 1. Verify port security STP attacks. Port pass and BPDU guard. Recall that network attackers can manipulate the spanning tree protocol STP to conduct an attack by spoofing the root bridge and changing the topology of a network. To mitigate spanning tree protocol STP, manipulate attacks use port pass and bridge protocols data units BPDU guard. Port pass immediately brings an interface configure as a access or track port to the forwarding state from a blocking state by passing the listening and learning states applied to all end user ports. Ports pass should only be configured on ports attached to the end device. BPDU guard immediately errors disable a port that receives BPDU like port pass. BPDU guard should only be configured on interfaces attached to end device. In this figure, the access ports for S1 should be configured with port pass and BPDU guard. Trunk S1 and access port. Configure port pass. Port pass bypass the STP listening and learning states to minimize the time that access port must wait for STP to convert. If port pass is enabled on a port connecting to another switch, there is a risk of creating a spanning tree loop. Port pass can be enabled on an interface by using the spanning tree port pass interface configuration command. Alternatively, port pass can be configured globally on all access ports by using the spanning tree FortFast default global configuration command. To verify wherever FortFast is enabled, globally you can use either the show running config begin span command or the show spanning tree summary command. To verify if FortFast is enabled and interface, use the shown running config interface type number command as shown in the following example. Interface FA0/1 switch port mode assess spanning tree port pass 1 and this S1 config exit spanning tree port pass default exit show running config begin span. Configure BPDU guard. Even though FortFast is enabled, the interface will still listen for BPDUs. Unexpected BPDUs might be accidental or part of an unauthorized attempt to add a switch to the network. If any BPDUs are received on a BPDU guard enabled port, the port is put into error disabled state. This means the port shut down and must be manually re-enabled or automatically recovered through the error disable recovery cause pressure violation global command. BPDU card can be enabled on a port by using spanning tree BPD guard enable interface configuration command. Alternative, use the spanning trees port pass BPDU guard default global configuration command to globally enable BPDU guard on all FortFast enabled ports. To display information about the states of spanning tree, use the show spanning tree summary command. In the example, FortFast default and BPDU guard are both enabled as the default state for port configure as access mode. Always enable BPDU guard on all FortFast enabled port. Interface FA01/1 spanning tree BPDU guard enabled. Exit spanning tree port pass BPDU guard default and spanning tree summary. Syntax checker mitigate STP attacks. Implement FortFast and BPDU guard for a switch based on the following topology and specified requirements. The trunk GO/1, GO/2, S1, SS4, F0/1, F0/24. You are currently logged into S1. Complete the following steps to implement FortFast and BPDU guard on all access ports. Enter interface configuration mode for FA0/1-24. Configure the port for access mode. Return to global configuration mode. Enable FortFast by default for all access port. Enable BPDU guard by default for all access port. Module practice and quiz. In this packet tracer activity, you will secure use unused ports, implement port security, mitigate VLAN hopping attacks, mitigate DHCP attacks, mitigate ARP attacks, mitigate STP attacks, verify the switch security configuration. Switch security configuration. Secure unused port, implementation port security, mitigate VLAN hopping attacks, mitigate DHCP attacks. What did I learn in this module? All switch port interfaces should be secure before the switch is deployed for production. Use the security by default layer to switch port are set to dynamic auto trunking on. The switch can be configured to learn about MAC address on a secure port in one of three ways: manual, configure, dynamically learned, and dynamically learned strictly. Port security again can be used to set the port absolutely and inactive if the MAC address of a device attached to the port differs from the list of secure address. Then a port violation occurs. By default, the port enters the errors disabled state when a port is shut down and placed in the error disabled state. No traffic is sent or received on that port. Display port security settings for the switch. Use the shown port security command. Step 1. Disable DTP negotiation on non-trunking ports. Step 2. Disable unused ports manually. Step 3. Manually enable the trunk link on trunking port. Step 4. Disable DTP negotiation on trunk ports. Step 5. Set the native BLAN to a BLAN other than BLAN 1. Show me. And check. And that's it. And thank you for watching.